Hello out there in Radio Land. This is Hank Hill, Assistant Manager, Strickland Propane. Come on down to Strickland where you can get a great deal on the new Char King 320 propane grill. We have other propane grills and propane accessories for your grilling needs. So come on down. Mention this ad for an extra 5% off of your next propane tank fill-up. That's Strickland Propane, Harlan, Texas. Have a great day.
Bwaaa!
Bwaaa trash fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas. The trailer park is nice and dark, deep in the heart of Texas. That drinks his brew and he spits his chew, deep in the heart of Texas. The TV blares but no one cares, deep in the heart of Texas. Here we go!
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Bwaaa, King of the Hill Rewatch Podcast. I am Mike.
And I'm Rusty.
Rusty, King of the Hill, Season 3, Episode 4, Pregnant Paws.
Pregnant Paws.
P-A-W-S.
P-A-W-S, dog.
Yeah.
Ladybird, believe it or not.
Ladybird-centric episode here.
Yep, it sure is. It's
Lots of Ladybird.
Lots of Ladybird.
Ladybird
lots
in
of,
underwear.
Fertility discussions.
A lot of Dale, too. A lot of Dale in this one.
Yeah.
Dale is pretty forward on the bee story.
Yeah, he is. He is definitely very forward on that story.
So we start this thing with no bell, no yell.
No bell, no yell.
No bell, no yell. We start with all four guys. They're working on Hank's car. Basically, you got the three of them standing around watching Hank work on his car.
As usual. I mean, it seems like Hank has more engine problems than the rest of them for a man who maintains his vehicle at the high level that he supposedly does.
The high level of an American vehicle. So he says, yep, I change my oil every 3,000 miles or when I get bored, whichever comes first, which is fantastic.
Well, you know, it's weird now because vehicles these days, some vehicles, you could go like crazy amounts of miles.
Synthetic oil. You know?
There's some like cars that I've read that are being produced that can go like 10,000 miles or 8,000 miles before they ever need an oil change.
My truck,
insane to think.
I go about 5,000 to 6,000 miles on it, which my dad always told me, whatever they tell you and then add like 1,000 miles to it or whatever.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's pretty safe, but now with these synthetics, like you can go, like you say, 8,000 to 10,000 miles. And thank God, because an oil change now is $100.
Yeah. If you don't do it yourself, for sure, it is definitely expensive.
It's almost that expensive to do it yourself.
But
the
price is expensive itself now. Yeah,
I will tell you the thing that I like that came out of the pandemic as far as oil changes go. I now get to stay in the vehicle while they change the oil.
Yeah, I do like that. Now that you do the pull up through the bay and then you pull out of the bay, and I guess that is an upside. There's less human interaction.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to sit in that stupid waiting room, and read those magazines from 3 years ago. I'm not a big fan of Oil Change Weekly anyway.
Yeah, weekly oil changes.
So the boys all look over and start laughing, especially Dale. And Dale says, I see London, I see France. I told you, Hank, London and France. And Hank is like, oh, Ladybird, no.
Yeah.
The problem is Peggy is out walking Ladybird, and Ladybird is wearing Hank's old underwear.
Yeah. And I guess it's because she's in heat. And for those of you that have never owned a dog, when a dog is in heat, it leaves estrus. It's estrus, the essence of dog. I think that's what it's called.
Really?
Well, what you do when you put the scent of like when you go deer hunting, it's that season. When you go deer hunting, you put it's like an estrus is what they call it. I don't even know what the hell that means. I mean, it's like a scent, like an essence.
Well, it's like estrogen.
Like an essence.
I would guess, huh?
Well, yeah, I guess like estrus. Yeah, estrogen. So it says a recurring period of sexual receptivity and fertility in many female mammals. So what you do with deer is it's like they call it deer pee.
Yeah.
But it's like, whatever they put off.
Right.
And that's how you attract bucks to you to shoot.
Well,
when you shoot bucks, so you put.
I'm so happy we started this
deer
episode
vaginal juice
so
on your
grossly.
boots.
This is wonderful. Yeah, this is great. We can rename this episode.
We should name it deer vaginal juice.
Yeah,
that sounds
great.
like a hardcore like.
It sounds awful. Is what it sounds. Yeah, it sounds terrible.
Yeah, it does.
So
smells terrible too.
Hank runs over and says, "Get out of my underwear." And Peggy says, "I put those on her. Ladybird is in heat. We are out of doggy diapers." He said, "Peggy, how could you? My old underwear. I don't even wear those anymore."
If they're not good enough for him, they can't be good enough for her.
Here's one of my favorite little jokes that gets by, though. She says she wouldn't have to wear anything if you spayed her or hired someone to do it. So there is an option
assuming
where
that he's going to gut the dog.
There is an option where he does it himself.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. I guess Hank is more than just a propane salesman. He's also moonlights
a dog
as a
spayer.
vet tech.
Yeah. He says, "I can't have her spayed. I'll breed her one of these days." She says she's almost 13 years old.
I'm surprised the dog still even has a heat.
That's what
age.
I'm saying. The dog is old. He says you can't make a purebred bloodhound with just any old dog. That'd be throwing away generations of the finest Georgia inbreeding.
Yeah.
And you see, and then it pans down to Ladybird, and she's just like scratching
her
she's
ear.
Just a dog.
She's just a dog,
man. They don't
well, that's the
care.
thing with like breeding dogs too. That's weird. Is the fact that to get like the dogs they want, they inbreed them, so they end up having all these.
Oh yeah.
Health
well,
problems.
that's like pugs and all that stuff. They've got all those breathing problems. Yeah.
Those dogs.
I read a thing the other day where I read a headline where they were they're overbreeding these dogs, and so now they can't even breathe when they're
the
born.
deformities like they're dying at birth because the deformity is so like severe.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's inbreeding.
I like mutts.
Georgia. Isn't it funny though that they say Georgia inbreeding?
Well, it's a Georgia bloodhound.
Yeah, but
so,
Georgia, it's didn't they vote like didn't they have
hey,
like
guess what, everybody in Georgia? I love you.
Well, I'm not saying I don't love Georgians, but didn't like 1.4 million people vote for Herschel Walker in Georgia?
Well, that's true too.
I mean, come on, man.
They're having a runoff.
Woo! Yeah, they're running somewhere. I don't know where they're running off to.
So Peggy says this could be Ladybird's last heat. If you don't do something fast, she'll spend the rest of her life childless and lonely, sulking about the house in soiled underwear like Bill.
Like Bill.
Now, I have a problem with this.
Okay. What do we got?
Never seen this dog cage. Never see it again.
Never seen it. Never see it again. Well,
where the hell did this dog cage
it might
come
pop
from?
up again. We could be wrong, but
well,
as far as I know, I don't remember the dog cage.
We see the backyard a million times.
But remember, I think we discussed this once before about Ladybird. She really doesn't show up in too terribly many episodes. I think it was like
but it's not like she takes the cage with her.
Well,
where the hell's this cage? This cage just pops up.
Well, it might be the in heat cage.
Sure.
So the rest of the episodes,
it's a collapsible cage.
Yeah. So they probably just use it for when she's in heat, so she's not leaking all over the couch and stuff.
Okay, get their estrus all over the yard.
Yeah.
We
estrus.
I got to go somewhere. This is gross.
Yeah, it's getting somewhere.
We transition to the County Gun Club.
Yeah.
Really
County
specific
Gun Club.
name here.
Super specific.
We've got these two guys. One of them's wearing a bounty hunter hat, and he's talking to another guy. They're all shooting. Dale's shooting, and he says, "If I get off a shot, I wing him. Dang, if he didn't go another mile or two. Ain't nothing keeps you sharp for deer season like hunting humans." Which,
yeah, Dale perks up and he clears his. Dale's sitting there dumping what appears to be a very large caliber handgun.
Yeah,
it might be.
Oh, it's a big one.
It
it's
might
a rifle,
be.
right?
No, it was a pistol. It was like what does he say on Dirty Harry? The 44 Magnum or whatever, the strongest pistol in the world.
Yeah. I'm sure that's what he has. He says, "Excuse me, I couldn't help reading your lips. It's hunting humans. Do you need a license?" Dale is interested in hunting people.
He's interested in hunting anything.
The guy with the hat says, "This hat's my license. Any man who skips out on his bail can be hunted like an animal, although not eaten. All you got to do is sit through a 4-hour training course." Dale says, you're telling me there's a poorly trained, quasi-legal police force that operates with few, if any, government controls? It's about time. All right, we transition to Strickland propane. Taste the meat, not the heat.
Taste the meat, not the heat.
And Hank is in Buck's office, and he says, boy, that's some mighty fine hounds you got yourself there, Buck. And he's looking at all the different pictures of Buck and his hounds. And Buck says, that's right, champions, all of them except the deaf one.
Okay, so that's where there's the picture of him holding his dog's ears.
Yeah.
Okay, so Artie, shout out to Artie, told me that.
What's up, Artie?
Of course, we've correlated Buck Strickland already to LBJ.
Yeah, sure.
LBJ famously had
hounds,
Georgia Bloodhounds.
Yeah.
And there's a famous, I don't know if it's a picture or if it's a
picture.
I don't know if it's a picture or if it was a PSA where he had the dogs in the public service announcement, but there's a picture or whatever of him doing the same that same
holding up the ears like
same
that.
thing where he's holding up the dog's ears.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
And I think actually, let me look here. I think Artie actually did send me the. No, he sent me the picture of. No, actually, let's see here.
This is real time. Looking up stuff on the phone, real time. You guys were there. Are we doing anything live right now?
No, we're not doing anything live.
Okay. All right, great. This is not live. Hey, anybody who's listening to this is not live. Just letting you know. It's not live. So he is holding up the Bloodhound's ears, and he says that they're all champions except for the deaf one.
Yeah, here you go. Lyndon Johnson with the dog's ears.
Oh, yeah.
See, that's like
out
almost reminiscent.
Lawn. Yeah.
That's almost reminiscent of what we were just discussing, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're all champions except for the deaf one. Hank says, fine hounds. Mr. Strickland, there's something I'd like to ask you. He says, yeah, I'd love to give you a raise, but the accounting department said, Buck, stop letting employees put your lemons in a vice. Lemons in a vice.
Your lemons in a vice.
Hank says, Donna said that? Because Donna is literally the accounting
HR,
department.
Yeah, or the accounting, yeah.
He said, my hands are tied. He says, sir, this is about my Ladybird. I finally decided to breed her, and I was hoping one of your studs. And Buck just breaks in, woo-hee. One of my boys finally gets to howdy, ma'am, the debutante. He said, well, you know my terms. $500 a first session, $400 each additional session.
And please, no flash photography. Yeah, so he does almost.
It's a wonderful quote.
Well, that's another thing too about the comparison to LBJ is they said that LBJ was kind of vulgar and stuff like that.
Oh, sure.
And
well, I mean, he's
did
a good
business
old boy.
Did business off the toilet. They did a lot of conferences while he was pooping.
Yeah. This is turning into a wonderful episode.
It is.
We transition to
Poop and estrus.
We transition
not together
to the Econo. Well, you don't know. We transition to the Econo suites. Dale has gone to the 4-hour training course. He sits down at the table and he prepares by pulling out his tablet, his bunch of pencils, and of course a Bowie hunting knife.
Yeah, sets it right there just in case.
Yeah, just in case.
You never know.
Dude comes in that obviously is teaching the class. He's got the bounty hunter hat on. He says, okay, let's all shut up, please. That's a wonderful way to start whatever you're doing, any sort of presentation. If you tell people to shut up and then say please.
Yeah, and then say please right after.
He says, and outside on the thing, it says, welcome to bounty hunter school. He says, we don't have much time, so let's get right to it. Then he turns on the TV, and it's literally him on the TV saying, we don't have much time, so let's get right to it.
Yeah, we don't have much time, so let's get right to it.
He says, in the next 4 hours, we'll find out if you've got what it takes to wear this hat. And Dale, it shows Dale, and he's literally drawing a picture of the hat. He just wants that.
Yeah, he just wants that damn hat.
Like you couldn't go find that hat somewhere.
You could.
Just go get the damn hat.
Get a sticker, slap it on a hat, whatever.
We're back at the Hill House, and you've got Luann, who never speaks in this, and Bobby brushing Ladybird, and Bobby's doing Ladybird's nails. And Bobby says, Ladybird is going to be a mommy. Seems like just yesterday, Mom and Dad brought her home for me on account of me not having any brothers and sisters to play with.
Oh, yeah.
If I'd been old enough to talk, I would have asked for a monkey. Did you ever want a monkey?
No,
when you were a kid?
No, because I knew as a kid that monkeys threw shit.
Yeah.
So when I was really little and we lived in England, we went to a safari thing one time, and the monkeys, of course, they just crawl all over the car.
Oh yeah.
And like Oh,
Do they
I can't
crap
remember
on
what
the
kind of-
car?
Yeah, they throw shit and everything. Like they had like the wild red ass baboons out there, and these animals shit in their hands and chunk
Oh, sure
it.
they do. Yeah.
And once I saw that, that really just made me not want to have one. And knowing too that their like weight to height, their strength to like height and everything ratio is crazy. Because whereas we as humans, we have a switch that stops our muscles from being able to exert what their true potential is. So there's like a safety mechanism built into us that stops us from using our muscles to our full potential. Monkeys, chimpanzees, apes,
They don't have that
They
switch,
don't
huh?
have that. So chimpanzees will literally rip your arms off.
They'll rip your damn face off.
They'll rip your face
That's what'll
off.
happen,
They
yeah.
could rip your arms off. They literally could bite
Mm-hmm.
through you.
Yeah.
And they're strong enough to where a full-grown man couldn't fight. It doesn't matter how tall they are. You're not gonna fight them off of you. They're gonna whoop your ass.
That's where the old saying, "That's a strong ass monkey," comes from.
Yeah, the only way that you're going to get it off of you is squeezing its balls or putting your thumb in its ass.
Wow, gosh, this episode
Planet
went
of
off
the
the
Apes
rails.
is a cautionary tale.
Yeah,
It is,
no
yeah,
If
it is
they
a
ever
cautionary
can
tale.
talk, we're screwed.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to take the Statue of Liberty and bury it on the sand. All right, so
I thought that was like an expose on climate change, it being buried in sand. Is that how far we'd come as...
I don't think so. Not in the '60s.
No.
Not when that thing was when it first came out.
No,
I
you're
think
right.
I
was
think
just-
it might have been like a nuclear thing. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think you're right. So he says he would have asked for a monkey, but he guesses that things worked out okay. The doorbell rings, and Hank, dressed in his finest suit, goes to the door to answer it. And Ladybird is in underwear and has a beautiful little bow on her head. Hank says,
yeah, so like this is the weirdest shit ever because I know people that breed dogs and I know people that like I just don't, or breed farm animals and all this
Yeah.
stuff. You don't dress
Right,
up like
right.
pigs before they go.
But this is a special occasion for Hank. She's going to get deflowered.
a special occasion. Like if it's a special occasion for you that you have to dress your dog up to
It's
go
like
man
a-
it,
it's
you need to go. Please seek medical
It's like
attention.
a eyes wide shut for dogs or something.
It's sickening. It is really
So,
sickening.
He looks over at
like
Lady.
next thing you know, they're going to be filming it and trying to hawk it as porn on.
He-
the
well,
friggin'
it's not.
internet.
It's not porn. You show it to the puppies and you go, "See, this is how you were made." You know. and
Yeah,
it's,
while they drool all over and don't know what the hell you're doing, they just
because
shit
they're
everywhere.
inbred and they don't know yet.
Yeah, well, no, just because they're dogs.
Well,
Mike.
that's true,
Not because
too.
they're inbred, because they're dogs. They
Well,
don't
they're
know what
inbred
the hell
dogs
you're
are even
showing them.
worse, right?
Yeah.
He got-
No, actually, they're not. They're the most expensive dogs are the inbred dogs.
yeah, but they're stupid.
it's backwards.
Inbred dogs are terrible.
They
fall
they're
apart.
dumb, but they're expensive.
I've seen them just fall apart right in front of me.
Just like Legos.
Just like
Just
Legos. That's right.
Yeah.
And just like Legos, stepping on a
Lincoln
dog part
logs.
really hurts your foot.
Did you ever play with Lincoln logs?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, Lincoln didn't enjoy it, but
No, he didn't. His logs were a lot bigger.
Hank looks over. And I don't know what the hell's going on today, but this is rough.
Fiber, a lot of fiber in our diet.
Hank looks over. Well, we
Well,
did.
it was in those apple
we did.
pies,
We did
Mike.
wait a little while.
I don't
and
know. I
then
think
we
it might
had-
be the apple pies.
Yeah,
there was
then we
something.
had
I mean,
some-
you're the only ones that ate one, and Mason, he's over there cooling.
Then we had the Little Debbie naturally and artificially flavored apple pies.
I don't
Rusty
get
was
that.
nice
I
enough
don't
to bring.
understand why it had like
Well, it's got
naturally.
both.
But then you wouldn't you just say artificially flavored? Because
No,
even
because
though
they want to point out the natural stuff
well,
too.
even though it is naturally flavored, it's still
Those are
artificial.
Those are man-made apples in there.
Does it have red
Those
dye
are
in it?
really good.
Red dye. No.
Man-made,
It
man-formed
says
apples.
here. Oh, it's got the California cancer warning code on it.
Ah, fantastic.
That's
Eat
on
enough of
everything.
those, you get California cancer?
Well, I don't know. Well, that's the thing is, I was always confused as a kid why California. There was always a California warning on all these labels for cancer, and I was like, do we not care about cancer in this state? Why is
We don't,
California the only
no.
one concerned?
No. In here, in the state of Texas, you take cancer in your own hands. So he looks over at Ladybird, and he's just like, "You're beautiful." He just because she's got the
you're
damn bow on her head.
beautiful, Ladybird.
Uh,
It really makes me wonder: would Hank have sex with the dog?
I don't think he would have sex with a dog, but I think he would do some heavy petting. But thank you very much. I'll be here all
That
week.
was good. That was good.
Thank you. So he tells Luann, take off her underwear, and then he opens the door. And
why is Luann a part of this ceremony? This reminds me of like I watched what's that show called? Handmaid's Tale, and they have like this weird ritual that they have to do where they like hold her.
It's very
down,
much like that.
It reminds me of some weird crap like that. Like this is super dystopian. I feel bad. Like somebody get this dog out of this house immediately.
This poor damn dog. So he opens the door, and there's Buck with his hound, who has a big-ass muzzle on, which is wonderful.
Yeah. Well, his dogs are just wild raucous in the backyard with nobody paying attention to them.
That's
dogs.
true. That's true.
They're just show dogs. I got hounds in the back.
And then Buck is in a tux, which he tells us why.
Yeah.
But at first, you're like, dear God, this ceremony between these two. He says, Hank says, I'm honored you could share Ladybird's special evening with us, Buck.
Yeah.
Special
Let's
evening.
make some hound dogs. Yeah.
I'm late for a bachelor auction. That's right. All right. So thank God we don't see any more of that. We go back to the motel. And the guy is wrapping up his 4-hour class. He says,
the seminar's almost over.
Yeah, he says, okay, you learn kicking down doors, you learn mustaches, mailman suits, and other disguises. Did we cover chokeholds and pepper spray? And Dale is on the ground in a fetal position, and he goes, yes. Good. Take your seat. Okay, you have 15 minutes to complete the ethics exam. Good luck, and try to remember what I taught you. A, B, A, C, which is really great.
Answers, yeah.
Congratulations, class of Thursday AM. You may now call yourselves
like
bounty
he does it like
hunters.
that slide pause.
Yeah.
Congratulations, class of Thursday
AM. Yeah, and he's just handing out those hats. You
can now call yourselves bounty hunters.
That's right. Now we go to the animal hospital, and we've got Peggy and Hank and Ladybird waiting in the doctor's office. Dr. Downs comes in, Downes, and Hank says, hello, Dr. Downs. Doctor says, hello, Ladybird. Hank says, this is my wife, Peggy.
Yeah,
it's just a second.
She looks like frustrated.
Well, it's just like a second thought. This is
my wife,
this is Peggy also.
I take care of our son.
She says, I take care of our son.
I don't know why she would say that. That's I don't know. Peggy's weird.
And so the doctor says, so what'll it be? Flea dip? Tartar scrape?
Worm shot? Yeah.
Not this week. Finally let my little girl start dating, and I think she's in a family way. Boy, you remember when they used to say.
Weird shit.
Doctor says, oh, well, that's sweet. Let me get a glove on and have a look-see. Peggy says, ooh, this place gives me the deja vus. It's just like when we were trying to get pregnant.
My sister listens to this in like 2x speed or 1.5x speed to get through it. So that little part right there is going to sound like lightning.
It is going to sound like a light, yeah.
We should talk real slow so it messes her
Hank
up.
says, yeah. I remember. All right, so we go to a flashback, and Hank, they are sitting in, I guess, just the regular doctor's office.
Well, we find out it's like a fertility doctor or something.
And so Hank says, so, doctor, is she going to be a mommy?
How do I say this without breaking your hearts?
No.
He
just says no. Doesn't even pause,
No.
Peggy's like, oh, God. He says, I have your test results. She goes, I knew it. I'll never get pregnant. What is wrong with me? Hank is like, Peggy, this is not your fault. The doctor says, he's right, Mrs. Hill. There is no point in blaming yourself. It's all Hank's fault.
Yeah, what?
He says, you were born with a narrow urethra. So this is the time that he found out.
Yeah, this is where we find out that he's got the narrow urethra.
Says, years of chronic tension have only made it worse. I really don't think you'll ever have children. He says, but that's impossible. Says the lab reports confirm, and good God, that's going to be tough on double speed.
Yeah.
Says the lab reports confirm it, although suspected as much when you took 30 minutes to produce a urine sample.
Yep.
It's a long time.
That is a long time. That's a lot of tension, man. He needs to relax.
But I love the fact that Hank responds with, hey, you want it done quick or you want it done right?
Like there's a wrong way to take a piss. I guess as long as you're not pissing into the wind.
Peggy says, Hank, please calm down. Your urethra will disappear. Like if he gets too tense, he just doesn't have a urethra.
It's going to be gone.
Yeah. She says, isn't there anything we can do? And the doctor says, for starters, we can transition you to boxer shorts, or
Yeah,
if
he has a very concerned look on his face when he said the word boxer shorts.
He says, or if that's unacceptable, I can prescribe a specific series of sexual techniques.
A series? Are you suggesting I break the law?
She says, oh, Hank, please. He's just trying to help us. I saw something on the news about a procedure called in vitro fertilization. They mix your boys with one of my ladies in a test tube. Isn't that wonderful?
No, it's terrible.
Hank,
it's science run amok.
Hank
wants
like it. Zero part of this.
This particular like situation here in this social situation we have here, again shows how forward thinking the show actually, at the time this was, it really was. That was a sentiment. Oh, it's science run amok. That was, a lot of the feelings behind IVF.
Well, and this is where we got GMOs. Peggy's.
Where did we get HMOs from?
Same time. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
HMOs, GMOs, same thing.
UFOs.
She says she's just distraught. She's like, oh, Hank. The doctor says it's perfectly safe, Mr. Hill. They've tested it on animals. Peggy says, couldn't we just try it? And Hank's like,
no,
it's
wrong.
Adamant.
Yeah, it's wrong on humans. It's wrong on animals. I'm sorry, Peggy. I know you're disappointed, but that's just how I was raised. By my mother and father, not in a test tube, which is dumb because you're still going to raise the kids. It's not like the test tube is raising the babies. It's just taking their inside process and doing it outside and then putting it back inside.
To me, that saying is a lot like, it's not Adam and Steve, it's Adam and Eve, and that all of that crap, that people say. It sounds a lot like that.
Yeah, there was one I saw that was kind of funny where it was talking about women using toys. It says it was Adam and Eve, not Florence and the Machine.
Okay. Again, we have talked about deer urine, dog estrus, poop. Now toys. In vitro fertilization, whatever. We have covered the gamut.
Yeah, virtual fertilization.
Virtual fertilization. Yeah, you get to be one of the swimmers.
Yeah.
All right, we get a flashback, and it says this is Hank, and we come out of the flashback. Hank is like, so is Ladybird going to be a mommy? And the doctor says, sorry, Hank. And Peggy, of course, is like,
Mr. Strickland better refund that $500.
Yeah, and Hank says,
knew that stud was no good.
Yeah,
he wouldn't even look her in the eye. What the hell?
Yeah, he says, the doctor says it ain't the stud's fault. It's Ladybird's. I'm afraid she's got a narrow uterus. Hank's like, oh no, she can't have puppies. He says, well, stranger things have happened, but no, she can't. All right, we're gonna take that chance to take a commercial break, and we will be right back. Cover your uterus. Rusty, I see you just lit a beautiful candle.
Yeah, one of the St. Angeles candles.
St. Angeles. We've been looking forward to these.
Yeah, they finally came in.
What scent we got there?
We have St. Tropez. I'm probably saying that wrong, but we'll go with it.
St. Tropez.
St. Tropez.
St. Tropez. St. Tropez.
St. Tropez.
I think it's Tropez. I think.
I like the way it
smells.
Yeah,
it's islands, right? It's a certain group of islands.
Yeah, it's got a very floral scent.
I don't like the fact that you're sitting here smelling your fingers. But
what's the wax like?
Oh,
the wax from the. Yeah, I'm not smelling my fingers because I dug in my butt.
It does smell fantastic, though. Yeah, I really like it. So tell me about these candles.
The candles are a collaboration.
Smell it too hard, the fire gets on your mustache.
St. Angeles.
St. Angeles
candles. Dominique.
Yeah, Dominique and her candles.
She has sent me one of each of her candles.
Wow!
You also have a box on the way, Mike.
Holy crud!
And yeah, so they smell. This one smells wonderful.
It really does smell
very
good. Yeah,
floral, tropical. Because flowers,
relaxing.
Flowers in a meadow smell different than flowers by the beach.
Sure.
So it's got like a very beachy tropical flower smell.
It does. Yeah, it's very good. I like it.
Like I could be, it's like maybe like a hint of salt, like a salty I
like the way
beach and floral.
I like the way the wick maintains a fire. Also, that's very nice.
Yeah. So St. Angeles Candles, everybody. You can go to saint-angeles.com/candles, and you could use code KOTH20.
KOTH20.
That's a discount code on there. So, yeah, if you go on there and check it out, we'd appreciate you checking her candles out. And,
beautiful, lovely smelling.
Lovely candles.
Make a great gift.
And we'll have
give it to your mom.
An ad a week until the candles
sister.
are done. So until we're done with her whole line of candles, we'll be letting you know about each one. And this one was St. Tropez. The candle company was established in 2020 in Los Angeles, California by Dominique, and she goes by the name St. Angeles. And you can find all of her content at St. Angeles on Instagram, and I think on YouTube as well as where her podcast is. And, we appreciate you guys, and please go support St. Angeles Candles.
Give me that code one more time for a discount.
KOTH20.
St. Angeles.
Candles.
Pretty. Floral. They smell great. Go buy a candle. Okay, we are back, and we are now in the park, which I've never been to in Arlen.
We are in the park.
Well,
After
actually,
dark. No.
Is the park the place they had they were having the cook-off thing, and then it froze? Everybody freaked out because of the snow.
Oh yeah, when they I think so. Nobody lick any poles.
Yeah,
nobody lick any poles. I think it's that park. It'd probably be that park.
That's a good.
I imagine that's like the Arlen Community Park.
That's just a good thing to live by. Don't lick any poles.
Yeah, I mean, depending on who you are and how you make your money. Yeah,
sure, that's true.
Don't tell me what to do.
All right, so Hank is sitting there with Ladybird, and he says, I know it hurts, Ladybird. I've been there myself. I just wish I could scoop up your pain in a little plastic bag and throw it out. A dog comes up and tries to mount Ladybird, and he's like, hey, get out of here. Forget it. Knock yourself out. And then two guys walk up, and one of them says, buddy, no, stop. Oh, I'm so sorry. Get down. He goes, hi. Hank says, hey, it's all right. No harm, no foul. See, the thing is, my Ladybird has a narrow uterus. The vet said she'll never know the pleasures of motherhood, and in fact, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to burden you. The guys say, oh, not at all. We were in the same situation with Buddy's mother. Turns out there's all sorts of things you can do. He's like, what? There are? They said, yeah, diet, hormones, body work, surgery. There's a whole world out there.
I don't know if he was talking about dogs there or not.
Hank says, wow.
It's a very progressive show, and this episode shows how progressive the show actually was for its time frame. To be talking about these sort of topics in the innuendo.
There is a wonderful quote coming up. But Hank says, wow, I want to know everything. Do you and your brother have time to grab a beer?
Well, I actually can relate. I actually got a relatable story. So my best friend growing up, his mom is gay.
These guys are obviously not brothers.
They're obviously not brothers. They're two gay dudes.
Sure.
And her mom is an extreme Baptist, had a lot of trouble dealing with the fact that her daughter was gay.
Yeah.
And she always introduced her partner. They've been together like 20 years, and she was still introduced. They've been together longer than 20 years now, but at the time, they'd been together even like 20 years, and she was still introduced her daughter's partner as, this is my daughter's friend. This is my daughter's friend.
Yeah.
And then my friend's sister, she came out as well. So the same grandmother had to deal with the same thing with her granddaughter, and she would introduce her granddaughter's partner as, this is my friend, except for my friend's sister would tell her grandma, no, grandma, that's my partner, not my friend.
Well, I mean, of a certain age, you don't, I'm assuming they don't even realize what the word partner means,
Yeah, well, not only that, I don't think at a certain age, some of them care to know more than anything what's in front of their nose.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah, but once you're, 80 plus, you're kind of set in the
80 plus. Yeah. I appreciate you rounding it up for me. Thank you.
I was going to go lower, but I had to make sure I got high enough that I wasn't going to hit anywhere near you.
That's right. That's what I thought. So the guy says, yeah, sure. I know just the place. And, to the guy's credit, he doesn't even flinch at the fact that Hank said, you and your brother.
No, he doesn't.
Which is fantastic.
Just kind of just lets it. Again, that goes back to the story. Just kind of. It's whatever.
So we transition to the AA1 Arlen bail bonds, which, again, company I've never seen.
I've never seen this one either.
There is a guy who is he assuming he runs the AA1 Arlen bail bonds. It's basically kind of like a window in there, and everybody gathers, and he just calls out the cases, and all the bounty hunters take the cases. Right?
Yeah.
And so he says, assault with a deadly weapon and attempted murder of a police officer. He's been on the run for 2 days. And Dale's in the back of this group.
Me. I'll take it.
My hand was up first. Why do you keep giving the cases to all these other guys? And the guy says, because they're experienced professional bounty hunters. You're just some diluted bug sprayer who took a 4-hour course and learned chokeholds and got a hat.
And I love Dale's response to that because he goes, you are familiar with my credentials, yet you still refuse to give me a case.
Guy says if it'll shut you up, the fugitive's name is James Jimmy Hellstrom, a.k.a. Jimmy Hellstrom, wanted for unpaid parking tickets. Dale's like, the hunt is on.
The hunt is on.
So we're back in the Hills kitchen, and
it's getting intense with this dog thing here.
It's getting super intense.
It is, it's getting weird beyond weird, especially when we find out the difficult, because we already know now the difficulty that they had with Peggy getting pregnant.
Yeah, sure.
And how little effort he wanted to provide during that experience. And now we see him. We'll go forward with the scene. He's there with the thermometer, 100.7.
Bobby's sitting cross-legged on the floor with a clipboard.
Yep, and he's
taking down all the stats,
taking notes. So so not only is he going above and beyond what he didn't do for Peggy, he's actually to a point to where he has a clipboard and he's gathering a medical chart.
Oh, they're making charts. They're putting down all the information.
Graphs.
And so he says 100.7, and Bobby's like, wow, it's hot in a dog's head.
Yeah.
He says, and then in comes Peggy. She's been in there watching TV, I guess.
She's laughing,
and she says, oh, I love the bloopers. Practical jokes, not so much. Hey, what are you guys doing? And Hank says, I'm charting Ladybird's temperature. I'm going to pinpoint the exact perfect moment for her to mate. She
just
she
screams
gets really
instantly,
upset.
like, flip the switch. Give me that.
She grabs the thermometer, says, give me that.
Hank, that thermometer's for company.
For company.
So just know if you're ever at the Hills house and you need a thermometer, it's a communal thermometer. Just know that all company have potentially used that thermometer.
Sure, but it is nice to have your own thermometer like that.
Be glad it's not a rectal thermometer you have to share.
Well,
now we've covered rectums. We've come full shit circle here.
Rectum, hardly knew him.
Yeah.
Hank says, but I was using it. She says, I don't know. I don't see why. The doctor said Ladybird cannot get pregnant. Hank, and this is the quote that I love, he says, I know, but I met some men. We went to a bar, and before it all went horribly wrong, they told me a bunch of things I could do to get Ladybird pregnant. And then he says, 100.4. She's ready for a stud. And it just shows Bobby, and he's got this big, goofy-ass grin on his face. He's just like, ee. And he says, Peggy, quick, call Buck Strickland. I put him on the speed dial. Just press Peggy's mother. And I love the fact that they put that in there because it pays off here in a minute.
Well, I think it's
a great joke.
I think it shows how
it is
selfish Hank gets. I was gonna say
does.
fucked up, but yeah, it's definitely pretty fucked up to take your wife's mother's. Imagine if you did that. Like if you took your wife's phone and took it off just so you could breed your dog.
Reprogram the one that says mom.
Yeah.
So we are now with Dale. He is pulled up to a very rundown house.
Yeah. Could be a crack house.
It could be a crack house. The fence is all busted out and all this stuff. He's dressed in a jumpsuit. Says Arlen Florist on the back of it. And so, but he's still in the dead bug van.
Yeah, he's definitely in the dead bug van.
It's not like he rented a florist van.
What else is he going to be in? Yeah. He could have at least put some flowers behind the bug's antenna or something.
Something.
Give it a little Hawaiian feel. A floral feel.
He goes
like
up.
St. Angeli's St. Tropez candles.
He goes up to the door and he says, Arlen Florist, and he's ringing the doorbell. He says, I got some long stem roses for Jimmy Hellstrom. And then the rest of the scene is literally just sounds. You hear doors slamming, somebody running out. You hear a car speed away. And he just stands there and goes, ding dong, just keeps ringing the doorbell. Because I guess he's just that
no, Mike, you left out the worst part.
What's that?
Dale left the damn bounty hunter hat on.
Yeah, he didn't take the hat
That's
off.
true. Good point.
Yeah, he didn't
I
take
didn't
the
even
hat
think
off.
about that.
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
So he's got Arlen Florist on his jumpsuit. He's in the Dale's dead bug van, and he's got a bounty hunter hat on, and he says
Yeah, he
he's
doesn't
delivering
even
flowers.
look. Yeah, he doesn't even look. Yeah,
That's fantastic.
Anything
yeah.
about what he's supposed to be doing.
Good job, Mason. Now we are back at the Hill House, and we see Peggy in bed, and she's freezing. And she gets up, and she's got no covers. She walks into the bathroom, and it's Hank and Ladybird, and she goes, "What the H are you doing?" He says it's called the Tellington Touch. It's a body awareness technique. All the top fertility experts swear by it. He's got Ladybird in there, and he's putting hands on her or something. I really honestly don't know what he's doing. She says, "My grandmother quilted that blanket." He says, "Peggy, no, I can't move her for 2 hours. She just made it. Give me the freaking blanket." And so she just rips the blanket away. My favorite part of that scene, though, is Peggy's hair. She
That's
looks like
all disheveled. Yeah,
she looks like a
it's
damn
crazy.
troll doll. You know, like one of those,
Yes, she does.
or one of those pencils that you used to do like this, you know, and you would rub it back and forth, and their hair would stick up. You know what I'm talking about?
No. Are you talking about
Mason, you
pencil
ever seen one of
toppers?
those pencil toppers with the hair
Oh
on
yeah,
it?
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I
Those
think so,
little,
yeah.
Those
Yeah.
little troll pencil toppers.
When I was a kid.
Yeah, I got you.
Man, come on. All right. Now we are, we see the phone book, the Arlen phone book. And Dale has circled Jim Hellstrom in the phone book. And he's like, "Thought you could outsmart me, did you, Hellstrom?" And he goes up to another house where he's going to start delivering pizza, and about 14 Dobermans come out running at him. We find out it's 10 later, but it's a lot of Dobermans.
A lot of them.
So he drops pizza, runs back into his van. Now we transition to Bill alone in the alley, and he has a beer, but he hasn't opened it yet. Bobby comes out, and she's, "Ladybird," and Bill says, "Hey, Bobby, come stand by me." He says, "All right." So, I just don't like to drink alone. So he finally opens the beer, starts slurping it, and he goes, "How's school?" Bobby's like, "Fine."
Fine.
So that's nice. Friends?
Yeah.
Bobby
I
Bobby
gotta give
says,
Lady Bird her hormone biscuit, and Bill grabs
Hormone
it out of his
biscuit.
hand and says, "Let me see that."
"Hormone biscuit."
Yeah.
Yeah, he says, "Let me see that." He goes, "Ladybird's going to be a mommy, and we'll have a puppy again, like when I was 1 year old and my parents got me Ladybird." He said, "Boy,
That sure is a cute story.
But you got it all wrong. Your parents had a dog a whole year before you came along." Bobby's like, "What?" He says, "Oh, yeah. As I recall, your mama was having trouble getting pregnant on account of your daddy's narrow doohickey." Doohickey. Eventually, they just gave up on ever having a child of their own, and they did the next best thing. So that is
another cut scene here.
yeah, it's going to a flashback. That is a weird way to tell a kid.
That's a weird way to. Well, it's weird that.
But Bill's
Bill
kind of
would even
gross
be,
anyway.
Well, he's kind of gross, but
Yeah.
I don't know. As a kid who grew up with a dad who had a bunch of friends and stuff
Mhm.
like that, I don't know. I think it would be a weird conversation to have with one of my dad's friends.
Yeah,
That'd
it's
be
just a
just
guy. It's just a guy that lives in the neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, Bill's not just a guy that lives in the neighborhood. They went to high school together. They were all they're all high school friends, and they're all in their
But to Bobby,
30s.
he's just a guy that
He's
lives
just
in
a
the
guy
neighborhood.
that lives in the
you know?
neighborhood. Well, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, he's his dad's friend, but
But you don't think that? Well, I mean, he knows. I think he would understand that he went to it's not just a friend, because I didn't meet my dad's high school best friend until I don't know, probably a year ago or so.
yeah.
And just the connection that they have together,
Yeah.
even though they're 60 now, and you could tell that they had a lot of
Oh, sure.
fun. And this is a real quick story. So I'm standing there, and it's actually at a funeral, and it was a mutual friend of my dad and this other friend. So
Right.
my dad is inside, and I'm standing outside of the funeral home, and this guy walks up to me, and he just starts talking to me. And he's really a really eccentric guy.
Mhm.
And my dad had described his friend before, but I'd never met him, never even seen a picture of him.
Right.
And I just knew. I was like, oh, yeah, this has got to be his friend. And I was like, yeah, are you looking for Clifford? And he was like, yeah.
Is that
And I
your
was
dad,
like, yes,
Clifford?
my dad, yeah. And he was like, yeah, I'm looking for
Clifford,
him.
the big red dad?
The big red dad.
Sure.
And big redneck dad. And he was like, oh, yeah. And I was like, oh, well, he's inside. But, yeah, so it was I don't know. It was neat watching them two interact with each other the whole time.
Yeah.
That we were there because you could tell right away that they had known each other for
I have never
millennia.
met any of my father's friends.
Never?
Never.
Oh, damn.
I don't think he had any.
Might not have.
I think he just like stayed in the bathroom the whole time.
My dad had one friend I've met.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in I think over a decade.
Yeah.
Well, my dad had tons of people.
Was he weird?
Coming over all the
No,
time.
he was nice.
Yeah.
I remember. I think we went to an Astros game once.
Yeah.
I think.
Did he tell you about how you were conceived?
Maybe. I might have blocked that out.
Good. Thank God.
Do
that
we
saved
need
you.
to call the police?
That saved you hundreds of dollars in
Nah,
therapy
he didn't do any
bills.
of that.
Yeah. So we go to a flashback, and Peggy is laying on the sofa, and I'm assuming she's getting over having that news, that she can't have a baby. And Hank lays a puppy on her, and she's just like, "Oh, Hank, thank you. She's perfect."
She kind of fawns over it, yeah.
Yeah, she falls on the floor, and I wrote down here that they get busy on the floor.
Yeah, they do.
Because I'm assuming that's what happened.
This is where the
right?
conception of Bobby happens. They instead of
I don't
heavy
know if it's
petting?
right
Is
here.
that what you called it? Heavy
it's
petting?
heavy petting. Yeah. I don't know if it happens right here. I think it happens here in a little bit.
Yeah.
And I have a reason for that. So we come back from the flashback, and Bill is now eating the hormone biscuit. He's just really enjoying it. And Bobby says, "Hey, they gave up on having a child of their own, but here I am, a child. A child doesn't just come out of nowhere. Mr. Dotrieve, was I adopted?" And then this is probably the crappiest thing I've ever seen Bill do. He says, I'll tell you, Bobby, if you get me some more of these cookies. He says, but those are dog hormone biscuits, and that's the last one. They're from a special store, and it's 2 miles away. He goes, well, sorry, Bobby, that's the deal. That is a crappy thing to do to a kid.
not only a crappy thing to do, it's a weird thing to do. They're hormone biscuits for a dog.
Yeah.
He's gonna start growing tits and like crying milk.
His Estes.
Yeah.
Bobby rides off on his bike, and Bill just continues eating. Over his shoulder, we see Dale behind the fence, and we see him unhook Ladybird from the cage, which
Yes, he
will pay
does.
off here in a second. We go back to the kitchen, and Hank is on the phone. He's like, outstanding. We'll take the next flight out. No, God bless you, doctor. And then he says, we did it, Peggy. Ladybird's been accepted into an in vitro fertilization program up at Michigan State. Now, Peggy has every right to feel the way she does here.
Oh yeah, she's entitled to her feelings because
Peggy,
she struggled to have a human child, and he's sitting there bending over backwards for a dog when he never would do anything like this for her.
Peggy may be a bad person sometimes, but right now I feel like she is vindicated in her feelings. She says in
She's
vitro.
vindicated just in her feelings. She's still a bad person.
Says in vitro. What are you talking
I'm sure
about?
Hitler was sad sometimes too, but he was still a piece of shit.
He's a beautiful painter. He said test tube puppies. They're using this new experimental fertility drug. I figure it's safe enough for humans in France. It's probably safe enough for dogs in America. She goes, Hank Hill, if you are thinking of flying your dog to Michigan to get her pregnant, do not bother buying a round trip ticket. He says, relax, Peggy. I don't have to buy anything. Can I have your frequent flyer number? And he just walks out the door, which is weird.
Yeah, it's weird, but
Right?
it's still weird to ask for the frequent flyer number too.
She is pissed. She says, but I need those miles to get to my great aunt's funeral next year. So she knows that her
Yeah, it's
great aunt's
timed.
going to die next year. She's yelling out the back kitchen door. She goes, fine, just go. Do not expect me to be here when you get back. That's
tough one,
quite a
yeah.
threat. She said, and then she picks up the phone, she dials it, and she says, Mom, can I stay with you for a few? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Strickland, because he has replaced the quick dial for Mr. Strickland's number.
That's great.
That's where that joke pays off. It's fantastic. Dale now has Ladybird in his van, and he says, let's get one thing straight, Ladybird. You work for me. And he is heading to this house. He's going to try to use Ladybird in his scheme as a bounty hunter. Hank is in the back. He's at the cage, and he's like, good news, Ladybird. Oh, my God. And he finds out that Ladybird is gone. And then we see Peggy coming out of the house with a 9-iron, and she is about to lay waste to Hank's
Mower.
mower.
Yeah, she's going out there with the mower. Very passive aggressive.
She sees Hank at the cage, and she goes, oh, you're still here. He says, Ladybird's gone. She's like, oh, my God, what happened?
Yeah,
He
she
says-
actually shows genuine concern.
Yeah.
She like kind of snaps out of what she was doing.
He says, I don't know. Maybe you left open the cage by mistake, of course, by mistake, and she ran away. You're blaming me? I would have to get pretty passive aggressive to do something like that, and spit in your coffee every day for a week.
Wow.
When somebody
That tells
says
a
that,
story.
they've already done it, right? I mean, she has been spitting in his coffee, correct? Okay, all right.
Oh yeah, repeatedly.
Hank says, but wait a minute. And he picks up a receipt from Dale, and it says, receipt from Dale Gribble, bounty hunter, borrowed 1 dog, purpose, nab fugitive at 27 Whistler Terrace, signed Dale Gribble, bounty hunter.
Yeah, Dale's.
He gave exactly where he was going to be. He signed it bounty hunter twice. I guess in Dale's mind, at least he did the right thing. I don't know.
That's crazy. I don't
Hank's just like, damn it, Dale. Then we get back to the house, the rundown house, and Dale is pulling up, and we see all the Dobermans, and he looks at himself in the rearview mirror, and he goes, okay, Gribble, this is it. 2 days and 4 hours ago, you were an untrained, untested, no hat. Now look at you. And he it's gross. He rolls down the window and fans Ladybird's scent at the Dobermans.
Estrus. Waves the smell of her estrus.
Grody, gross. And so he is able to distract the Dobermans. He gets inside the house. He kicks open at least 2 doors. And in the he keeps screaming, freeze, bounty hunter, freeze, bounty hunter, every time he kicks a door open. We hear the theme from Sanford and Son playing, and then we hear it stop. He goes into the kitchen where he kicks down another door, and he sees this guy is Dale, right? He basically sees a reflection of himself.
Yeah, for sure.
The only thing different here is that this guy has a Black & Decker hat on.
That is it.
That's pretty much it, right? They are the same guy.
Pretty the same.
So he goes,
Also-
freeze. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, you
Go
you
for
finish. No, just Dale's lucky he didn't just. He had the drop on him.
No kidding.
Yeah, he did. He did have
They
the drop
both
on him.
have shotguns. I mean, they could have laid each other to waste there. And but yeah, you're right. This guy who goes unnamed, he had the drop on him. He could have just shot him as he
Coulda
came
got
in the
him.
door. But he goes freeze, and they both drop their guns at the same time with the
Yeah.
So now we're in Hank's truck, and they're driving. They're looking for Ladybird, and Hank says, what do I want, a left, a right? I wish Ladybird were here. She doesn't need a map, which is a shitty thing to say, Hank,
Yeah,
by the
it's
way.
terrible.
Read
He
the
don't
room.
even care. Yeah, he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
He's Hank Hill, for Christ's sake.
Peggy is like, well, that is it. I am sick of acting like you care more about that dog than you do about me, your human wife. He says, what? I don't care more about. Oh no, Ladybird! She's gonna dehydrate in there because he sees her in Dale's dead bug van.
Yeah, but this part right here is funny too, because he goes, between this sun and the incredible airtight construction of an American-made truck, I'd say she's got about 5 minutes. He's worried about her dehydrating in this van.
He says, I'm going in. Peggy says, are you loco? She doesn't say loco. She says it all weird.
Yeah, she said,
Are you loco?
Yeah, she's, I don't know. She's not very good at Spanish.
Oh, God, she's terrible
Escúchame.
at Spanish.
Yeah, escúchame.
She says, are you loco? As soon as you step out that door, the attack dogs will attack
they'll
you
rip you in
to
half.
shreds. I bet if I were stuck in a truck, you'd just leave me there. Hank says, Peggy, how would you ever get stuck in a truck? She says, I don't know. The handle could break off. That's not the point. All week I've watched you jump through hoops trying to get Ladybird pregnant, and you never jump through any hoops for me. And she's starting to cry a little bit. Hank says, what are you talking about? She goes, you never put a thermometer in my ear. He says, of course not. Why would I? Oh, see, you admit you love her more. This is a crazy argument between the two of them.
A wild argument. This is the most nuts. If you are that insecure in your marriage that you are so tied up in the fact that your husband's trying to get his dog to procreate, that you think that he doesn't love you for that, that's
a rough one.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. That's where this again now puts her back into the piece of shit realm.
Yeah.
Let the man make it. Come
on.
on.
I don't know, man. It's pretty bad on his part too.
Real quick about Peggy's Spanish.
Yeah.
I would have done it earlier, but
you're
I'm
good.
too slow.
Escúchame.
Just for anyone who doesn't know, escúchame means to listen to.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know why the hell she always says it like she means excuse me.
Yeah, to listen
just for
to,
all of our non-Spanish speakers out
She
there.
thinks it's excuse me, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It means to listen to?
Yeah,
Yeah,
listen to me.
to listen to, yeah.
Escucha me. He's really confused because she is very mad about him not putting a thermometer in her ear.
Yeah.
He said, "Why would I?" She says, "You admit it. You love her more."
That's
he says, "That's
crazy.
crazy. I didn't do all that thermometer stuff because where's the romance?"
Yeah, he'd rather stick something else in.
With
than a
Ladybird,
thermometer.
it doesn't. Jesus. Says with Ladybird, it doesn't matter. She's only a dog. She's not my wife. You're my wife. And she says, "Well, I know. Well, sometimes a woman needs to hear it. What? That you're my wife?
You're my wife.
That's.
I mean, I
Can
guess
you hear me now? Yeah.
maybe some validation. I guess I don't know.
I guess, man.
That's again, she like her insecurities. Maybe that's why she's a piece of shit because she's so insecure.
Hank says, "Well, why would you be jealous of Ladybird? You don't want to get pregnant, do you?" And this is where she's like, "Oh, I don't know, maybe." And he says, "Well, that's why I've been trying to get Ladybird pregnant." She goes, "I'd rather have another baby than another puppy." And so at this moment, they almost had another Bobby. I mean, we're close here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. He says, "But remember when we first got Ladybird?" And now we go to another flashback. This is a very flashback heavy episode.
Very flashback heavy.
They're still on the floor with the puppy, and Hank says, I thought if we just had a puppy in the house, and she's like, "Oh, Hank," and so they rolling on the floor. But the thing is, Bill is watching through the window.
Yeah, it would be really weird.
This is where I think Bobby was conceived, right here.
I think so, yeah.
I mean, it's a few moments later than what we saw previously. We come out of the flashback, and Hank is like, "I just thought if we had another puppy in the house." She goes, "Oh, Hank." And then they start hugging, everything's over now. And Peggy says, "Hang in there, Ladybird. Mama's coming." I mean, she got serious real quick.
Real quick.
So we're back in the house with Dale and the other guy. They both try to get the gun. Then he's like, "Easy, easy." The other guy says, "I'm cool, man." And then they both drop it again. So they're at a standoff. We're back outside, and Hank does something that's pretty smart as far as I'm concerned. They back the truck up. Peggy's now driving, and they back the truck up to Dale's dead bug van.
Yeah.
And they open the doors at the same time and make a tunnel, which is pretty impressive, honestly.
Yeah, it's a pretty intelligent idea.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Very utilitarian.
And so he's just like, "Come on." Well, Peggy says, "Be careful, Hank. 9 times out of 10, they go right for the crotch." And I see 10 dogs out there. Great joke. Wonderful joke. So Hank starts telling Ladybird to come on. He's just coercing her, to come over into the truck from the van. Now we're back in the house with the standoff. The guy asked Dale, "Why are your arms shaking, Mr. Bounty Hunter, if that is your real name? You getting tired?" He says, "Yes, very tired." The guy says, "Well, nice hat." He said, "Back at you." And he's talking about that Black & Decker hat that this dude has on, right? So we're back outside. They get Ladybird. She finally jumps in. He's like, "Oh, good girl." And Peggy says, "Okay, let's get the hell out of here," which she never hardly cusses.
No,
right?
hardly ever, yeah.
"Let's get the hell out of here." And then she seatbelts, please. So they have to put the seatbelts on. Now we're back at Bobby riding in on his bike. He's panting and sweating. "All right, here you go, Mr. Dotrieve." And he has gotten him some of those hormone biscuits from the store.
Yeah, this is a funny scene. I love this
Bill
scene
says, "Only 8?" He goes, "They'll cost $20. He goes, "All right, Bobby, ask you a question."
$6.
Well, he's like, "Mr. Dotrieve." He said, "Mm-hmm." He goes, "Am I adopted?"
No.
He said no. Yeah, that's it. That's the whole thing. He drove to the damn store. He spent $26.
Just to be told no.
Now, you give me a glass of milk and I'll tell you your middle name. Which is
that's funny.
How the hell does Bobby not know his middle name?
Yeah,
and he just stands there eating the biscuits.
Okay.
We go back to Hank's house and okay. I understand, the playful thing where you put a puppy on somebody, they're laying on, you introduce a puppy.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Peggy literally throws a grown dog on Hank.
Yeah.
Hank's laying on the couch and she
just
throws a grown-ass dog on him.
Grown-ass dog, yeah.
So anyway, he pulls her over on the couch. They start kissing. And that's it. Everything's over.
Yeah, that's it.
We're all good. We don't really, honestly, we don't really get an ending here.
No, just boop.
We're just done.
Over.
It's the credits.
Yeah, him and that dude eating SpaghettiOs.
So we go through the credits, and then after a few of the credits, we get the theme from What's Happening, which I'm sure no one here remembers.
No, I don't know that one.
They're both sitting on the sofa just watching TV, so I'm assuming they're watching What's Happening, and then one of them asks him, more SpaghettiOs?
More SpaghettiOs.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's it. That's the whole show.
It kind of just ends.
It-
like you said.
It does.
Well, they end the Peggy and Hank plot. I think the Dale thing, they just ran out of time.
Yeah, maybe
And
so.
just like,
Yeah.
Well,
no
the
way to-
Dale thing, I'm honestly more satisfied with than I am the Ladybird thing. You know, because at least Dale, he's just an idiot, and we get it. You know, he's made friends with this other idiot that we never see again.
Yeah. Never
But
see again.
We never heard Bobby's middle name. Well, Ladybird is still trying to get pregnant, I'm assuming.
I kind of took it as this is. Well, they decide that I was so focused on this because I didn't know I wanted to have another kid.
Yeah.
And that's followed. This is kind of a part one to kind of like it's not a serious sequel. I mean, the next episode is basically continues this.
Really?
Yeah, the next episode's pretty.
It's about
continuity is really like similar. Yeah.
It's about next one's about Cotton and Dee Dee.
All right. Okay. Well, I'll trust you guys.
The next episode is the GH episode, right?
The creation of GH.
The creation of GH episode.
I will trust you,
then
gentlemen.
she's pregnant for like 3 seasons. After
think
that,
so,
or
yeah.
something like that. She's
She's only pregnant this season.
Is it just this season? Okay, I
Yeah.
thought she was like extended pregnant, like for a few, like kind of how Bonnie's pregnant for like the whole Family Guy.
For 6 seasons.
Yeah, for 6 seasons, something like that. Yeah.
Well, folks, that is the end
It's the end of that episode.
of season 3, episode 4, Pregnant Paws.
Yeah, so voting has started for the Waco Awards. Get on there and get us voted up for
Waco
Podcast of the Year.
Awards.com.
Yeah, WacoAwards.com/voting/podcast-of-the-year is the exact URL.
Good God.
I have it posted on all of
Please.
our social media on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You can go there, and I've got the link posted. If you don't want to hunt for the link, just go to our social media.
Use your dashes wisely, folks. I will tell you that when I look at this page of Podcast of the Year, we've got Become Something podcast that is put out by a church.
And that's the only one that I was worried about losing against. I'm not worried about losing to any other podcast but that one, because the guy that runs that podcast is a verified Instagram user with 117K followers.
Yeah. No, it's
So-
because it's a church. It's a big one. Yeah.
So if anybody loses to that podcast, I don't think they've really lost. I think we're all winners if we lose to that podcast.
Well, we're all winners either way.
Yeah, but come on, you're talking about a podcast that tries to use like modern day like culture to sell Jesus. So I don't know how. I don't know. You know.
Well,
I don't know.
whatever. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not here to judge them.
I'm not here to judge. I don't know.
So you've got Becoming Something. That's a church-run podcast. You've got
Yeah.
Better Than Nothing, which started here at
Yeah.
Rogue Media. You've got Broke Down at the Shack, which I don't know those guys, but they are here in town.
Yeah, they are in town. I know a few people that are associated with. I don't know like the guys that do the podcast, but I know people that do stuff with them.
We've got the rest of them. You've got us. Then you have No Waco with Debbie, who
with Debbie.
is a Rogue Media employee. She does a fine job of telling people what's going on in Waco. Then we have The Public Affair with Andrew G., wonderful gentleman who still does his podcast here. Lots of great local flavor in that thing.
I wouldn't mind losing to that one.
Yeah, no kidding. He actually
Yeah, I
won
could
last
lose to
year.
him.
Yeah, he's the reigning champion.
He's about the only one that I would be. Him and the church podcast would be the only two that I'd be worried about losing against.
We've got the Pull Up podcast. I do not know what that is.
I know what it is. It's a street podcast. They interview local and not local, hip hop musicians, and they just talk about street culture and stuff like that.
It says we.
I know the guys that run the podcast. I actually had a face-to-face meeting with Sylvester, the guy that runs it at his house.
Says we the THA Pull Up podcast, one of the street podcasts. I don't understand that name. The Pull Up Podcast, one of the street podcasts.
Let me see.
In Waco, hang on one. It says
They might have a typo or
Waco,
something.
Texas, where you can pull up on the couch and pop your shit, talk about your career, music, etc. It ain't official till you pull up. Okay. And then we have finally Waco Famous Podcast, which those are three fine folks that do their podcast here with Rogue Media. They are part of the family. And I would not mind losing to No Waco Public Affair or Waco Famous. That is fantastic. I'm very, very happy that 4 of our podcasts were nominated.
Cool. But we're gonna win. Yeah,
vote for us.
Yeah,
please.
vote for us.
Yeah.
Please don't waste your vote on anybody but us.
So
BWAAKOTH on all social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter. And I'll have the link posted there. I've already posted multiple times on all social media platforms, and I will continue to do so until we know who the winner or the loser is. So get to voting. You could vote once every 24 hours per device per web browser.
Yeah.
So you have multiple opportunities to vote a day. The possibilities are almost infinite these days with the amount of web browsers that are out there. So, how about this? And this is a challenge to you guys. So, whoever could just take the most screenshots of the most times you voted, we'll give away a sticker or something to you guys. We'll figure out a giveaway for you.
We'll give you a sticker and a handwritten letter.
There you go. You'll get a sticker and a handwritten letter, and that'll be from us here at the Bwaaa
handwrite you a letter.
So just take screenshots of your vote so we know that you're voting, and send it to me once a day on any of the social medias, and I'll keep a tally.
Can I ask a couple of questions about the Waco Awards?
Yes, ask.
Maybe you know here. Can you tell me what the Mr. Mitch Davis Entrepreneur of the Year is?
No, I don't know what that is. I guess a guy named
Who's Mr. Mitch?
I have no clue who Mr. Mitch Davis is. I know who Timo is, the Timo lyricist of the year.
Timo's fantastic. Yeah, I love that dude. I will say, though, for the Mr. Mitch Davis Entrepreneur of the Year, one Mr. Corey Dickman, is one of the nominees.
Yeah.
And if you know who Corey Dickman is, you know why I think that's funny. He is our
proprietor,
father, I guess.
Father,
He's our something. Yeah, he runs all this stuff. And then I Real Dreams Change the World Comedian of the Year.
Okay.
What is Real Dreams Change the World?
I don't know.
I don't either. Real Dreams Change the World Social Media Content Creator of the Year.
Okay.
They're getting these handles like.
I don't know where they're getting it from, but I don't know. I think it's a good thing that they do, though. I think it's a great way to highlight Waco's content creation, Waco's just everything. Not just content creators. They, they got barbers, bartenders, bars, lash techs, restaurants, cooks.
I'm gonna ask one more
chefs.
question. Okay, what the hell's a trail ride group?
A group of people who are in a quote unquote, like an outdoor. It's an outdoor club where they ride horses together and barbecue and just have a good time. Yeah, it's to keep kids out of the streets. Really, it's an outreach thing to keep. If you ever see people riding around horses and stuff in your neighborhood and stuff like that, those are probably a part of a trail ride.
So it's literally people riding horses.
They ride horses, yeah. They ride horses and they just have a good time. It's like an outdoor, like an outdoor cookout activity type thing.
I have a problem.
Fun. It's really fun.
I have a problem with one group. Okay.
What group do you have a problem with, Mike?
In this trail ride group of the year.
What's that?
There's one called Lone Riders.
The Lone Riders.
If you're in a group, you're not by yourself. How are you the Lone Rider?
If you've got one person on per horse, it's Lone Riders. So in other groups, they might double up, so they can't call themselves the Lone Riders.
Those
but
poor
in this
horses.
group, they are the Lone Riders.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Hey, man, go vote for us. We appreciate it if you do.
We appreciate it.
Hey, also, quick shout out to St. Angeles Candles. Dominic did a fantastic thing. Yeah, sent us some beautiful candles.
We got some more candles on the way, so we'll let you guys know how great they all smell.
And check us out online where?
BWAAAKOTH on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter.
Also, gutters, newsstands, maybe scoreboards at your local high school games.
Airplane advertisements. Bus benches.
Sure.
I've actually looked into that. Airplane advertisements in Houston. Yeah, it's a little expensive.
I bet it is.
Expensive.
Yeah.
If I could find a sponsor,
Yeah.
so anybody out there, if you want to sponsor an airplane advertisement in Houston, Texas for us,
yeah. If there's
that would
any
be phenomenal.
airplane owners out there that want to sponsor us,
yeah,
it'd
one
be
of those
wonderful.
banner ads. All right, guys.
All right, guys. Also, you can check us out at roguemedianetwork.com. See you later.
Tanya.
Wimatanya.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast. Frozen, Frozen, heroes. Gonna tell you about Frozen, Frozen, heroes. Gonna tell you about.
Hey, I'm Zach,
And I'm Mike.
and we have a fantastic new podcast to tell you about. Bros, Foes, and Heroes. It's the two of us looking into the world of comics, breaking down some characters that you may have never heard of, and some that are just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, so Zach comes up with a character each time, and I go into it just completely blind. I don't know who this person is or what their abilities are or anything, and basically I guess we kind of go over their origin story and just some of the ridiculous stuff that maybe, especially Golden Age stuff.
Oh, Golden Age stuff is always the best, and we will make sure to highlight all of the shenanigans and just absolute weirdness of everything.
Yeah, that's right. So subscribe today and follow us on Instagram at Bros, Foes, Heroes.
And if you don't, I know where you live. Not really, but please subscribe.
Frozen, Frozen, heroes. Gonna tell you about Frozen, Frozen, heroes. Gonna tell you about.
Welcome to One Star Rewind, a new podcast about those dreaded one-star reviews that every business owner hates to receive, but yet every customer loves to read. During this podcast, we will peel back that one-star review to better understand how it happened, when it happened, and what the business owner is doing after receiving that one-star review. This podcast will be about love, hate, and laughter. On One Star Rewind, we will meet with real business owners who will tell their stories and how they do rely on reviews for their business. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or download us at roguemedianetwork.com. Please subscribe, but only rate and review for not a one-star review. Join us each time for a new review and a new story.